everyone. Welcome to the September episode of the Downtown Madison Inc. Advocacy Update. I'm Jason Hills, your president of Downtown Madison Inc., and we're here to talk all things advocacy in downtown. We have a conversation today about Willie Street and the new WMBA, the Williamson Marquette Business Alliance. We've got several board members that are going to talk about the health and vitality, their new organization on Willie Street, everything that's happening in the great section of downtown. Before we get to our friends on Willie Street, we want to thank our sponsors, our major series sponsor, our good friends at Sinair. We've also got our supporting series sponsors, the Fiore Companies and Hush Blackwell. As always, I think we're going to call him friend of the pod now. Chris Gilling, Senior Vice President of Business Operations for Sinair. Chris, do you mind being called friend of the pod?
I would take friend of the pod. You can extend that to a lot of different places, Wales, otherwise, but yeah, I'll absolutely take it, Jason.
That was a good joke. I appreciated that joke. That was a good one. That was a good one. Things are good. Things are good with you, Chris. How's everything in Sinair?
Yeah, things are good. We're continuing the work that we always do day to day to try to find ways to keep affordable housing included in the conversation, not only here in Madison, which is one of the great cities that we call home, but across our footprint in the upper Midwest and the Mid-Atlantic, and helping partners navigate times when there's more need than ever for affordable housing resources. And I know that that's a top of mind conversation for everybody at DMI, for everybody here in Madison. And one of the things I'm grateful for is living in a community that acknowledges it. But excited to hear some of the new developments in what I have always thought is one of the cultural homes of this city and its heartbeat and lifeline in Willie Street. A lot of the businesses there have found their way to impact the broader Madison community, Willie Street Co-op, and I know a lot of us who know and love the city and know and love downtown have always found excuses and reasons to get down to Willie Street. So excited to hear the latest and greatest, and particularly heartened to hear the business community come together there to continue advocating for the vibrancy of that community over the long haul.
Yeah, Chris, and thank you for all the work you're doing on affordable housing, workforce housing. You know, that's something that's badly needed throughout our entire community, and in particular on the east side of downtown. So Chris, we're always thankful for what work you do and Chris does and Nicole and the whole team at Sinair. So thank you for your continued sponsorship and just general support of downtown. We really appreciate it, my friend. And friend of the pod.
Absolutely.
Friend of the pod.
Friend of the pod. Thanks, Jason.
First ever friend of the pod. That's you, Chris Jones. All right. I've already lost control completely. To the update of what's happening in the DMI advocacy world. We are thankful again to partner with several economic development organizations led by the Greater Madison Chamber of Commerce for our next new normal, our N2 survey that is out on the street now. If you've received this survey as a business owner, please do complete it because it's vital information to assess the current and future economic conditions of our region. Really, a lot of baselining happens here, a lot of new information, how we can plan economic development here in our area. So please, if you got the N2 survey, please do complete it. It should go to the highest member of any one of our member organizations. Just want to say a big thank you to our friends at the Greater Madison Chamber of Commerce for their continued leadership on this. Our friends at Destination Madison, the Black Chamber, Latino Chamber, Hmong Chambers, CARPC, and many others that have been a part of this. You should never name out organizations when you're giving thanks because I have certainly forgotten a couple. So if I did, there's my apology. But thank you again for this support of all working together. Next up, I want to talk about a top subject that's happened a lot this year. Downtown Madison and Madison in general, the region has been found by other cities. They're coming to our city in droves to learn about our city with familiarization tours. And already this summer, we've seen Lexington, Kentucky, Dayton, Ohio, San Luis Obispo in California, Northern Colorado around the Fort Collins area, and Folsom, California, that have all visited our fair city to learn. And we learn from them about best practices, including what we just talked about with Chris in affordable housing and downtown development and healthcare, biotech, you name it. It's been wonderful to see so many of our friends from across the country visit our city to build the relationships, and we've already kept those relationships going forward. I'm so fortunate enough to be attending the International Downtown Association Conference here in the next couple of days, and I'll meet again with Al McDowell, my contemporary at Lexington's downtown organization. This has been a real honor to have these many folks traveling around in our community and learning from us. And again, we are learning from them. A couple of big subjects that are happening right now with road construction. First up is John Nolan. Obviously, it's on many people's radar. Starting in a couple of weeks here, they're going to go down to one lane in each direction as they repair the bridges. There's 6 bridges, 3 sets of couplets of bridges that are failing. And they need to be redone. At that time, they're going to redo the road as well, but they're also going to add some more space for the new Madison Lakeway Skyline phase of that project. So yes, certainly will provide hardship in the near term, but first the road work needs to get done. It just has to happen. But it also gives us the opportunity to think bigger about the new Madison Lakeway project. What we want, and I'm sure our friends at WMBA agree, is we still want everyone to support downtown and just find new ways. Take your patience when you're coming into downtown over the next year or two. Speaking of road construction, the Regent Street area is also going to be reconstructed, but that most likely is not happening until 2028. However, the redesign is happening now. So if you have interest in Regent Street or want to have your opinion heard, now is the time. The survey did just close, but there'll be a series of public meetings available, led by the team at KL Engineering and the team at Equity by Design. So please do pay attention to this process. It's an expedited process, and the road work will be redesigned by the beginning of next year. This is a key opportunity to really create a road that we can all be proud of, right? Right now, we really have something that doesn't work for anybody, even single occupied cars. Let's figure out what this road looks like to work for as many people as possible. All right. We are on to the main subject of the day, and that is all things Willie Street. We are honored to have several members of the first ever board of directors of WMBA, the Williamson Marquette Business Alliance. Today, joining us, we have the chair of the organization, Chip Cruz, and owner of Weary Traveler, Rotunda Cafe and Sugarery, and Del Lawrenson with Frank Productions, and Anya First with the Willie Street Co-op, Ryan Coughlin with Dirty Paws Hiking, and Carla Mason with Creative Energy Design. This is a fantastic group of people, and we're excited to have a conversation about Willie Street, one of my favorite streets in the downtown. And I'm just so excited that DMI has a strong partnership with them to help establish the organization. But this is an organization that they're now running, but we're here to help however we can. And we're so thankful because there were a couple of years where there was no business association on Regent Street, which is made up of about 75 to 80 all locally owned businesses, so many of them that we know and love. We just talked about several in the Willie Street Co-op and Weary Traveler. And to have an organization like WMBA be created to advocate for the businesses, to bring people together is so important. And I'm just so thankful to have everyone here. All right. Now there's 5 people. So I don't know who wants to go first, but the first question is, who wants to give us a brief overview of the new Williamson Marquette Business Alliance? How did it come to fruition? And what's the geography of the Willie Street area? Or I can just answer the question if no one
I
wants
was
to.
going to say, because of their
Perfect.
institutional knowledge, I was going to nominate Anya to step up and just talk about kind of the previous iterations and how this one came about. Not to throw you under the bus, Anya, the rapid transit bus.
I don't want to be thrown under any bus, but I was involved with the business association long before WAMBA was formed, and that was Guaba. And then Guaba dissolved, and we had a void in the neighborhood where the businesses could have a voice. And this great group of people stepped up, and we've been working for, I think, the last year plus, maybe even year and a half, putting together what it takes to form an organization, or in our case, an alliance. And the energy is really good, and we've actually expanded the boundaries from when it was Guava to include a little more of the Winnebago sort of avenue, and I think it goes a little further north than I remember. But it's, we're a fledgling organization. It feels really good to be involved with the businesses again. There hasn't been a voice for a while, and so I'm just excited about it. And I'm sure Dell might know that the the territory a little better because I think you developed the map. But again, we're working closely to support the Willie Street Park, and we've got a social gathering coming up next week, 2 weeks, next week, for businesses. And then we're working on an opportunity for businesses to get some coaching from a well-known business coach in the area.
And to expand on what Anya was saying, in terms of geographical boundaries, we're looking at East Washington and our friends at SEBA over to the west of us, John Nolan Drive to the south. We cut all the way up into the Sassy neighborhood along Winnebago Avenue, and then cut over to Dunning to include kind of the area near Jennifer Street Market to the southeast there.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a great to have representation. You just mentioned the great relationship you already have with our friends at the Cap East Business Association, right, which is running basically down East Washington Avenue, but also includes Main and Mifflin. To have the coordination, I think, is so important. So, Chip, I think I'll ask you as chair of the organization, what's the purpose of WMBA, and what are you hoping for the Business Alliance to accomplish? Nope, you're still muted. Although we love your response, but that was a bad joke. That was a bad joke. Bad joke.
Yeah.
There we go. Now we got you. Now we got you.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's great. I think those are big questions. The hope in general is just for the broad betterment of our neighborhood and more connectivity through productivity. It had been a little bit stagnant for a while, but I want to give absolute respect and admiration, particularly to Anya and Carla, because they've been staples and cornerstones of this neighborhood for a very, very long time. And they've been really doing this work for all of us so the rest of us could come in and kind of help. I'd like to think that it never really stopped because it was always really happening. It was just more organic, which I prefer because I don't think there's anything more Willie Street than an organic grassroots movement. And in this case, it happened to extend to the businesses. And we are just trying to take a very concise, thoughtful approach to the ever-growing dynamics of this neighborhood, both understanding the historical context of what has happened before, and with your help and many other organizations and interest help, trying to propel us into just a path forward that is for, in the most Willie Street area, what is best for the greater good of the entire city, and dare I say the state in general. Because I will admit that I am biased. I do agree with what was said before, that I do believe that the Williamson Marquette neighborhood is the cultural cornerstone of Madison, and we're very proud of that. And we just want to keep that going and help anybody that wants to be involved or is in our territory and beyond try to get to where they want to go. Because if we lift everybody up, it's we're going to keep on going higher and higher, so to speak. So.
Now, there's no question. I mean, the importance of this area with so many businesses. I want to ask a secondary question of Anya and Carla about the alliance part of this and the coordination between the businesses and the neighborhood, which I think is a relatively unique model and I think is important, right? That the neighborhood and the businesses are working together here. So Anya and Carla, tell us more about that alliance and how you're working directly with the Marquette Neighborhood Association and a little bit with Sassy, of course.
Carla, you want to answer that one?
Oh, okay, there we go. So yes, we are working close with M&A. I'm not that familiar with Sassy, but when we originally tried to start the business group, we actually started by going to M&A for some advice and seeing if we could be an umbrella under them. Well, then we ended up with DMI so that we could really develop our own. But part of the key thing of the neighborhood is you have to have good neighborhood relationships in order to keep the existing businesses moving along and being supported, and vice versa. We need to be good neighbors to all of our neighbors so that, the money keeps flowing between the businesses and the neighborhood and vice versa. So I just think that having a really great relationship with them is so very important.
I'll just step in and say I'm seated on the board of both entities there and kind of act as a liaison between the two, giving updates on action happening within either one of those boards. I think the business community of Willie Street, you know, uh, is reflective of the community of Willie Street. It's one of the things that helps keep Willie weird. A great ethos that we borrowed from Austin, but I think is very at the heart of the spirit of Willie Street. And there is such a Venn diagram that's almost a perfect circle between the businesses and the community of Willie Street. They're owned and operated by local people like the folks on this board that live in the neighborhood, and so they need to be working hand in hand in such a small, confined, and a genuine neighborhood. If you step outside the neighborhood, I think a lot of people look at Willie Street as its own tight little community, and the businesses reflect that as well.
I mean, I think it's so interesting to have that sort of that symbiotic relationship between the neighborhood and the street and the businesses on the street. I think it's super, super important. All right, next question, and I'm going to start with Ryan, although Ryan is literally working as we speak, so understand. But the question is, what excites you most right now about the Williamson Marquette area? Ryan, what do you think? Maybe he's still working. So we're gonna go we'll go with somebody else. Chip, what excites you most about what's happening on Willie Street?
Everything. Honestly, that's just an honest answer. Everything, every day. I grew up outside of Madison, and for me, growing up on a farm in a small town, when I first found myself to this area, it completely changed my life. And I was young and I didn't understand everything that was happening. And now I get to live here and I still don't understand everything that's happening because it's constantly changing. It's dynamic, but it's rooted. And so I think Dell made a good point of, this neighborhood is its own environment and outsiders do look to this place for what's happening because I do believe with the high density of so many things that are happening with art and culture and politics and business and community, this community is at the forefront for where I think a lot of people who live in this city really want to go. I've made jokes to you before about how I think the east side of Madison is the #1 tourist destination for West Siders. And I believe that. I absolutely believe that. And so we're coming off of just a great weekend for the neighborhood to where we just had the Willie Street Fair, which is in its 48th year, which is just incredible. And we just had Orton Park Festival that celebrated its 60th year, which makes that one of the longest running festivals in the United States. And we had La Fête de Marquette, which next year is going to turn 20. La Fête de Marquette had nearly 50,000 people come into our neighborhood over the course of 4 days. And so, we're right on the end of festival season, but now there's so much new growth in this neighborhood. There's experiments going on how to make this neighborhood better for people to come and go. That's exciting. It may not be exciting the most, but it's exciting when there's so many different entities and people from out of state that care about this very small area. And it lets you know that you have something incredibly, incredibly special. So as we look into fall in all of the events and the newcomers that are coming into our neighborhood and the events, and even just we have so many beautiful parks that so many citizens in this neighborhood care about, and you get to see the leaves change. And, eventually maybe the lakes will freeze over. But I really mean it when I say just every fabric of every being on this street it's very vibrant, it's very alive, it's very changing, and it's never not interesting. And like Dell said, it's always a little weird. So that's great too.
Well, as a West Sider, I appreciate every tourist visit I have to the East Side. Dell, Anya, Carla, what excites you about what's happening on Willie Street right now?
I think. Oh, go ahead, Carla.
Well, I'm just anxious to see some of the newer spaces filled in with the newer businesses that, we have some hollow spaces with some of the newer apartment buildings going up. But I really think that the amount of people that are being brought in, sometimes it's overwhelming. And I know that there has to be a stopping point, but the more people you put out on the sidewalk and out on the streets, the safer our whole neighborhood becomes for the shoppers, for the people who live here, in bringing in some new restaurants and pulling more people to our quirky little side of town, I think is really just a win-win situation for the business group of this neighborhood.
Couldn't agree more. There's a ton of opportunity in Willie Street right now. The development of the East Wash corridor is definitely extending into the Willie Street neighborhood. All you have to do is come down to the neighborhood on a Friday night when there's a show at Breeze Stevens to see the opportunity that's there for both small business and just new people coming into the community. I pinch myself sometimes when I'm walking to a show at the Sylvia or walking to Breeze Stevens or walking up to the Capitol Loop and just seeing like how close I am to everything. And I just think there's so much opportunity if you're a citizen or a business owner here in this neighborhood. It's a very exciting time while things are changing. We're adding more and more energy and youth into this neighborhood.
Anya, I would ask you our last question. What does the future have in store for Willie Street?
You're asking me?
You bet.
Wow. Well, I just wanted to echo what Dell said about the walkability of this neighborhood. I mean, you can walk, what is Willie Street, 12 blocks long, and you can hit so many exciting businesses and play places, and I just love that part of our neighborhood. And I know, as Dell also mentioned, we've expanded to include a few more of the side areas. But golly, I haven't yet, believe it or not, gotten a complaint about the rush hour lanes being closed. That's a big deal. Usually I get some input from someone, but I haven't heard that. I think that's a good move for the businesses, and it will actually slow traffic a little bit, which is a good thing. We've got lots of building development and new businesses coming in, so I'm just thinking things are looking up.
What are you so excited about for the future of Willie Street?
Is Ryan on here?
He was, but he didn't answer the last question. We would love to hear there you go, Ryan. What makes you excited?
Hey, as a small business owner, I'm super excited that there's an organization or an alliance that can start to link all of us business owners together. I'm from the SASE side, so that's what I bring to the board, is bringing a lot of that area that's not so much connected to Willie Street, but the road runs Willie, Winnebago, Atwood. And I think that they share a lot in common. And so the ability to connect with other businesses and help them is why I'm getting involved. One of the things I've heard a lot during this conversation is that we're just bringing a lot of people into the neighborhood. And the more development and density that we get in the neighborhood, when I talk to small businesses and businesses in this district, they are encouraged by the people that are coming. It's more customers for them. It's more people on the street for safety. It's an activated street. And so when I got asked to be a part of this, I knew right away that it was a thumbs up for me because of the connection with all the businesses. The ability to help other businesses if they need help. Something SASE, the neighborhood association's been doing, is having some social events at businesses that could use a boost. And I think that this organization is going to be doing some things that are similar, where we're hosting events that are highlighting really cool things in the neighborhood. And so to be a part of this is really, really exciting. And I look forward to working with everybody, including DMI and all the partners.
Chip, Dale, what are you excited about for the future?
Dell, you can go.
I'm just excited to see how this development happens. Willie Street has always had a unique, unique characteristics and lots of opportunity for young people. And I'm excited to see what that looks like as we move forward into a very, different era, both nationally and locally. It's very exciting. You have all these new businesses coming in and new buildings being built. We have the new Sauna Day business at the top of Willie Street, Colectivo moving in, and then, as Ryan said, connecting it all the way down to Shanks Corner and Sassy, where you have new bars like the Green Room, new music venues like Atwood Music Hall. It's a destination district, and I'm just excited to see where that takes us. We're going to keep having people visit us, and I hope that together as an alliance we can help put the best foot forward for the neighborhood. and be advocates for a future for, kids like me who moved into the neighborhood when they were 20 and had no idea what they wanted to do with their life. I'm excited to see what the next round of 20-year-olds who move into this neighborhood and have no idea what they want to do with their life ends up doing.
Yep. As chair, you get the last word, my friend.
Well, as chair, I'd just like to say I echo the sentiments of every board member here. And I
Smart,
just like to,
very smart.
yeah, just like to add to it. You're always in a good position where you have opportunities, and our alliance here has a lot of opportunities to make an incremental impact for everyone. And the connectivity through connectivity and productivity that's really the spirit of where we're trying to go. Whether it's something in the short term, which we've taken on and taken care of the Willie Street Park and helping them, which is one of the most absolutely unique spaces in Madison, definitely the state of Wisconsin. If you're not familiar with it, you need to check it out. Whether it's that or helping small businesses. There's also a number of businesses that I'd like to represent, because one underrepresented sector of businesses in our neighborhood is all the independent entrepreneurs that don't have a brick and mortar. There are so many, and giving people a little bit of tools, an outlet, a voice, a space, a little bit of help. As a business owner, I can just tell you that one, community is everything. And two, being able to rely on your community in the most uncertain of times, which, make no mistake, that's where we are. And falling on just this neighborhood is storied and it has a history. And as excited as I am for all the 20-year-olds that are coming in, there's a lot of 60, 70, 80, and 90-year-olds that have such a wonderful perspective that paved the way to get us here. And so I'm just excited for us to carry on the work that's been going on in this community since long before I was born, and hopefully building something that will grow and be as vibrant and energetic for the kids that are being born today. I know those are very big, lofty goals and very big concepts, but if there is one neighborhood, and particularly there's one group of people with all the help that we're getting between the members of this board and DMI, I'm crazy enough to think that we can do it. And we just got to keep Willie Street going, because there's a lot more going on here than meets the eye. And I think we owe it to our community to be good stewards of how it started, where it is, and where it's going.
I hear to everything that everyone just said. The future is so bright for Willie Street, and we're so thankful that Woomba and all of the businesses are now together in this new Williamson Marquette Business Alliance. To Del, to Chip, to Anya, to Carla, and to Ryan, thank you for your continued stewardship and what the bright future holds for Willie Street. Know that DMI and all of our partners are here to help however we can. We're here for you. Again, thank you for all of our listeners for paying attention to us today and our September Advocacy Update, our major series sponsor, our friends at Sinair and Hush Blackwell and the Fury Companies, for your continued partnership for the Advocacy Update. Thank you all for supporting downtown. Thank you for continued supporting Willie Street and all the great areas of downtown. We really appreciate it. Hope to see you soon. And thank you again. Talk to you. Bye now.